But have you ever thought, what if this is all just a dream? And we're just waiting in line to wake up? And most people think I'm insane. Once you realize that all the shit you used to care so much about just keeps you a prisoner of your own mind.
What's up? What's up? What's up, man? VNO, what you know? We are ordinary people with extraordinary stories. Speaking of which, I have an extraordinary people for you guys, man, this Sunday. My man, Darrell Gillcrese. Bro, I'm not calling you Darrell for this show. I'm not. I'm not. We're not doing the Darrell thing. We're going with I know you as China.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Pretty good, man. How you doing today?
Oh, man, I'm good, man. Thank you for inviting me on this wonderful podcast.
Oh, no problem, man. I had to, bro. I've been seeing you. If anybody's followed my Facebook, I've been seeing you trending uh, because you on Favorite Chef, Carla Hall, and I had to look her up, man. She's Bravo's. She's one of season 5 Bravo Top Chef.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely. Just in this great competition called Fave Chef, sponsored by Carla Hall, and you know, also benefiting the James Beard Foundation. Um, really just trying to get my name out there and have an opportunity to bring my type of cuisine and some things that I've been doing to the forefront. So having a really good time and competing and raising money for a great cause.
That's what's up, man. What is the cause that you're raising money for?
So the James Beard Foundation, they really focus on feeding the less fortunate and hungry throughout the United States and across the world. Uh,
Okay.
and so, the voting is one of the best parts about it. So all the votes and proceeds from the votes that I get from the people, that money goes to the James Beard Foundation, and it gets me one step closer to being Fave Chef, and getting to cook with Carla Hall and Taste of Home magazine as well. So
That's dope, man. So you get magazine, you get money donated. Money will be donated.
yeah, the money will be donated to the James Beard Foundation. So every vote that you do with cash votes, those actually help towards that. And also, I'm competing among several people. We just finished the group phase. It was like 5 intense weeks. My bracket was roughly 60 people, and I end up being number one coming out of that bracket. So on Monday, July 1st, we start the quarterfinals. And then after the quarterfinals, semifinals, and then championship. So 3 more rounds of just, getting the word out about the James Beard Foundation, the Fave Chef competition. Behind the scenes, we do cooking challenges and things like that as well, that we
Okay.
have to submit in. So it's definitely an intense process, but um, I'm having a great time doing it.
What so that's what I wanted to ask. So along with this, you're saying behind the scenes you have so when you do cooking challenges, are they actually like uh tasting your cooking or
So this particular competition is an online challenge. So
okay.
really, it's about visuals, plating techniques, picking different types of ingredients, and all those different things, and then trying to make sure we submit those in, and then they, can they judge us on, how did we do that piece, and if they think it looked appetizing and things like that. So.
Yeah, that's crazy, man, because it's like So this is an online cooking competition. So like your stuff could really be trash. Not that yours is off the chain, but so somebody's cooking can be trash, and then all of a sudden, they meet you in person, taste it. Great presentation, taste it,
Well,
and
I think the big thing is, we're living in a world of social media, and so before you even go to a restaurant, the food has to look appealing, right?
yeah,
So I think that's the best part about this competition, like being able to, work on your craft, submit these different photos, and then obviously get to the championship and win and get an opportunity to cook with Carla Hall, and learn from her and share your gift as well. And so there's a 25K cash prize, which I think will go a long way for a person like me trying to build a restaurant. So, I'm just super excited to be in there. I mean, I want to say there's roughly over thousands of people who competed. I actually was interesting. I was at my farmer's market last week, and I actually ran into a person who was competing in the same competition. And so it is a real competition. It is a real foundation that we're giving money back to. And, I've seen some of my own peers, in this competition. And so, to be able to make it to the quarterfinals, I'm 1% of all the people who submitted to be in this competition. So I'm excited for that.
really. So quarterfinal. So it goes quarter, semi, and then
Finals.
final. And
Yeah.
so how many people actually submitted?
I want to say thousands. They don't give us
Really?
a number. But I know when I started my group phase, it was 60 people, and we did 5 rounds. So it was top 20, then top 10, then top 5, and then number 1 out of the group round. And that's what we just finished. The quarterfinals is 11 days, is from July 1st to July 11th. Um,
Okay.
Starting tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, the voting line will be open, and people will be able to start to vote. You can vote daily. I think that's one of the important things. You can vote daily with your free vote, and then you can do donation votes at any time throughout the 11-day span.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. So you can vote daily. And then also I like to throw up there they can't vote today, and me and you talked about this.
yeah,
Uh Voting can't happen today,
yeah.
but they want to vote for this particular round, this quarterfinal round. They want to be able to vote for Monday, and
Monday.
I'll for Monday. So make
Mhm.
sure you guys, if you voting for China, man, there is a free vote selection, but there's
Yeah.
also this place where you can vote, where you can pay some money. How much is it? What is it per vote? Is it
The least amount you can vote is I think $10, or you can create your own, so you can vote $2 if you want. And one of the cool things that they do over the course of the 11 days is there'll be some 2-for-1 votes. So some days
okay?
go to vote, and it'll say you could put $10 but give 20, it'll make equal 20 votes. I think people should take advantage of that. It
Okay.
definitely helps me in this competition, as well as it makes your dollar go a little bit further. But
Okay.
like I said, it's every day you can vote a 2-for-1 special, and a 2-for-1 special, that's super cool because, like I said, it helps. It's super competitive, and like I said, we're raising money for a great cause.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's dope, man.
Mhm.
I wanted to get all of that out of the way, and I'm gonna leave that link up, man, for people to write it down, take a picture, take a screenshot. And y'all make sure to go vote on Monday. And I talked to China. We're gonna rerun this show uh, on Monday, just so they know, that hey, don't forget to vote.
There you go.
But
Don't forget to vote.
yeah, don't forget to vote, man. I'm always interested in the background story, the whole idea of you being a chef. We are friends, and I think I put that in the description. But I wanted people to know, like, what's the background to you even being a chef, to you being in LA, man, which is it's crazy. So I met you at Purdue.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Boiler up.
I met you at Purdue as a young guy, always enthusiastic man about life, and not into cooking at all. Not at least
Now
not
wait,
that I knew of.
I was nice with the panini machine. No, I had the panini machine. It was in there. We were smashing the ham and cheese.
Right. So you, but you were into fashion design. So like, yeah, panini machine, and that was about that was all of it. But
Yeah,
outside of that, you had this desire, man. I just remember you always talking about it to be a fashion designer.
yeah. I've been creative for a long time, and I think it really started when I was in high school, really in middle school. Back in the day, we had home economics, so you did everything from cooking, clothing, all kind of different things, and um, I think I just learned as I went through middle school and high school that I was good at both of those things. I remember making some pants back in the day when it was, Mystical and No Limit Soldiers. And I had some camo net pants that I put together with a solid backing, and I was wearing them in school with my Timberlands. And people was like, "Where you get those?" And I was like, "I made those." And they was like, "Oh," and cooking was one of those things that actually dated further. I was in elementary school, and we used to take you to the library, and I used to either get books on animals or drawing. And then eventually I started getting cookbooks and really just kind of focused on baking at the beginning. It was something I could do. I found it was kind of creative. I grew up in a single household with mom and my brother, and really I just had to figure out how to just make different food because mom was working a lot, and um, so my first like thing that I enjoyed making the most, and my brother probably hated it the most, was we used to make them beans and wieners, them
Just-
hot dogs, and I used to try to figure out how to make them things taste good each day. And I got kind of creative, figured out the what's that stuff? Syrup, syrup was working. you
oh
know,
God.
beans in there, add some mushrooms, saute some onions, beans and wieners, man. That was my thing, and just figuring out that I had fun doing it, and my mom, she was really cool because she kind of made me her tester. So I was just like testing food. So she'd cook it, and then she'd be like, "Taste this," and I'd be like, "All right, add this or don't add that," and that's how I kind of got my palate, and when I was really really young. And so just through life I was just kind of creative. So when you met me in Purdue, I was like, let's just continue to be creative. And so I think I was the first freshman, one of the first freshmen. I think you can Google that, first freshman to be um, have a model on the runway. They didn't really let freshmen design clothes back then. um,
Okay.
you had to be a sophomore or junior, and so I was just really good. I really, whatever I put my mind to, I'm really kind of focused and try to make it successful. So
Right. And that was a freshman, and this was high school, right?
no, that was freshman at Purdue. Just bringing it
At
full circle
Purdue. Oh, okay. Oh,
back.
really?
Yeah, like I was doing some things, but I was just saying, creativity was, it's always kind of been in me. When I was young, I don't know if you guys remember the Art Institute commercials where you'd have to draw the little sketches of people and things like that, and then
Yeah.
submit it to get into school. I did that like when I was in, I want to say, elementary school, and I got like an 88, but I was too young to actually go to school. So just creativity is just kind of who embodies me a little bit, and so
Okay.
that's how it's kind of got to me to this food journey. It allows me to be creative.
Right. Right. So how did you because I didn't even know that Purdue had a fashion design program, first of all. How did you find Purdue from you are from Pittsburgh, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. How did you even find Purdue for fashion design?
Well, it's funny. I think Purdue found me in a sense. Like when I was telling you, I used to go to the library and I'd pick either animal books or cooking books, right?
Mm.
So at one point, when I was at Purdue, I wanted to be a veterinarian. And what I realized is I love animals, but it wasn't necessarily the creative outlet. I didn't realize that when you go to college, one of the things that I always try to tell young people now is whatever you're surrounded around growing up, that's probably what you should do, unless
Right.
you really, bent on trying to do something else. So I grew up around entrepreneurs, right? Like my
Yeah.
grandfather, he ran a nonprofit that was super successful and still thriving today. Um, where he helps young people. So he taught me entrepreneurial skill sets. And so I kind of went left with that veterinary medicine. And when I tried it, I just didn't really love it. So I moved into fashion and I just said, you know what, this allows me to be creative because in high school and middle school, I was already sewing. I was already making stuff. So it kind of came second nature. It allowed me to draw, and all those different assets. So that's how really I got to fashion. And I kind of carried that into California, to be honest. I had a choice to either go to Atlanta for a little bit and do some fashion stuff or come to California. And I said, well, let's just do it big. And we're going to Cali. So never really
Yeah.
looked after that.
For a minute, man, like you ended up leaving Purdue. So again, you're from Pittsburgh, bro. I don't think I've ever seen you without your repping it.
Be all day.
Bro, I don't think I've ever. You know, uh, but you end up leaving Purdue, man, and I didn't even know where you had gone or what happened to you. Uh, and I think that you didn't go straight to Cali, right? You went to
No, no, I went home and just kind of regrouped and tried to figure out exactly what I really wanted to do with my life. And, you know, that's when I kind of realized that I'm an entrepreneur and it's business and it's creative. And one of the things about me that I've kind of learned is I'm a builder. I like
okay,
taking things from scratch and creating something and then seeing it through and then moving on to something else. And that's where I think food really is my passion because I make a dish, I perfect the dish, I work on the dish, and then I can move on to something else. Whether it's a new protein or a new vegetable, and say, okay, how can I make this better? How can I make this taste better? How can I put a different combination or spin on it? And
yeah,
so, when I came to California, I took a stop and I did something kind of like eye opening. I caught a bus to California 4 days, and I actually stopped
bro, from Pittsburgh.
yeah, from Pittsburgh, caught a bus. Um, and a lot of people didn't think I was gonna make it. They thought I was gonna have to come back to Pittsburgh,
Yeah,
and the truth is, you know, I really took that 1 year out of being in Purdue and saying, okay, I have to be constant and consistent, right? Like you you learn who you are when you go to college. You figure out,
right.
okay, how do you survive and all those things. And so I remember catching the bus for 4 days. I stopped at Purdue and spoke with one of our good friends, Ira Dobson, and you know
Yeah,
him for a few days and said, all right, man, I'll see you on the other side. And I just kept
yeah,
rolling. And then when I got to California, that's when my love of food really kind of came because growing up in Pittsburgh and in the Midwest and tri-state area, we have essences of food, but
yeah,
we don't have the culture that go with it. Like we got Chinese food, but we don't got the culture. We got Mexican
yeah,
food, but we don't got the culture. When you come to California, man, I remember walking the streets. There's a Koreatown, and that's really when
mhm,
my eyes opened. I went into a store, and everything was a whole bunch of different Korean food, but it was in Korean. And I
okay,
was okay, so this is like a neighborhood, like a real neighborhood that just all Korean food. And then I got introduced to Mexican food, and then I met Salvadorians and Brazilians, and like it was crazy because like when I grew up on the East Coast, you normally get that Jamaican, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, that type of flow of people, but they have really small communities in
okay,
California. Like these communities are streets and miles and cities upon cities of people, and just learning how to eat, and getting my first couple jobs of just trying to get on my feet, meeting people giving me pupusas, which are like
Yeah.
Salvadorian, uh, like cheese and dough mixture, and you fry it and you add cabbage, and I'm like, I've never eaten this before. So you know just all of that was like, oh, I do remember cooking. And then there's this place called the 99-cent store, which is like the Dollar Tree.
Yeah.
And I remember going to this store and you could get all these little small ingredients, and I had to figure out how to make that food taste good. And I was like, oh, I guess I got to really cook now, because I didn't have the top of the grocery store monies, so it was like, take what you get. And it kind of just brought me back to growing up. I came from very humble beginnings. I'm a blue collar guy, so
Yeah.
that was an interesting thing. And I spent a couple years working in kitchens and just kind of learning the trade, and then sharpening just my own learning of what I knew from cooking. So it's cool.
So, but when you now, with all of that said, when you first went to California, you went with the goal of fashion design in mind, right? Because you went to LA.
Yeah, yeah.
You went to
Really,
LA.
I really did go with the goal of fashion. And I spent some time there. Went to school for a little bit more. Worked in this garment district. It's like
Mhm.
streets, but I worked in one of the more famous stores called Michael Levine's,
Okay.
where and it's like a Joanne Fabrics, but downtown. And you know, I think what I learned about that space was, while it allowed me to be creative, I wasn't able to get the immediate satisfaction of, you know, this tastes good, right?
Right.
So when you make clothes and you design clothes, there's a lengthy process, right? It's
Yeah.
design, build a pattern, sew it, make sure it fits. Then you got to go and find someone to want to wear it, right? Like there's tons of
Yeah.
people here who want to do fashion, and it's nice to see it on someone, but it's not immediate. And so what I realized is, you know, it's great, but it didn't satisfy me. And so um, as I started to live here, I started really like figuring out that who I am as a person is, I need immediate satisfaction. Like,
Right.
I'm kind of impatient, just a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Just being real, right? But uh,
Right.
it does allow me to have that. But fashion was definitely a part of my journey, and it was helpful. And, I think it really showed me that, one, I could do it. Like, that's the big thing. Like, can I design something? Can I get something for someone to wear? And I was able to do that in a very small scale while I was here. Um, but food has really been my thing.
Okay. Uh, how did you go? What was the so you went from beans and weenies in Pittsburgh
Yeah.
to you would still have the fashion design on your mind. And
Mhm.
I know what you just explained, but like a lot of things can give you that immediate gratification that you could possibly do. You could have possibly gone into construction. Why food? Was it that love for cooking that you had when you were in high school? Uh,
Yeah. Like, I think the thing about it is, and I'm always going to touch on this because I really, I've done a lot of other fun things here in California.
mhm.
I have an amazing daughter, and she plays basketball at a collegiate level. Food and making things, and I cooked my first Thanksgiving dinner at like 30,
Yeah,
cover to cover. Yams, macaroni and cheese, turkey, you name it. And you know, it became my happy place. I remember working in a kitchen in Greensburg, where I'm from, there was a German restaurant at the train station, and it was used to be called, I think it was called Red Star, and literally that was like the funnest time. I just loved I loved being in the kitchen. At that time I wasn't cooking quite yet. I was a dishwasher, but I hung out with the chefs and the waitresses, and just that sound of people chattering and eating and all those things were just like amazing to me. And you know that is the things that you think about when you're really trying to build a career, right? And
Right.
I think that's where food really took over in my life, because then when I had my daughter, she's Afro Latina, and so I realized, like, okay, we make some of the same foods, we just call it different things, and then I started to travel and all these little pieces, and that was kind of, oh man, this is good. And this is before I really even took it seriously. I was just cooking for family, you know,
Right.
and new extended family that had, didn't grow with me, and they knew me, and it was like, you cook? I'm like, yeah, I'll cook. I'll bring a dish here or there, and they'd be like, this is good. And and then once I realized, like, okay, my food transferred from soul food to Afro Latin food, and it was
Yeah,
still
you,
good.
yeah. Man, I'm glad that you started to explain that because I don't even think I knew per se like the what was actually involved in that whole process uh, of you cooking Afro Latin food. I'm like, dude, what is what is a black dude from Pittsburgh doing cooking Afro Latin food, G?
So it really started with just the I guess the uh, just being immersed in a culture of people I've never seen before. So I grew up. My aunt is Puerto Rican, so I grew up around Puerto Ricans, African Americans, and we ate different types of food. But when I came to California, I literally was working, and I'm talking working in factories and different things like that with Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Salvadorians, um, Spaniards, like all these different types of people, and they were bringing different stuff to lunch, and then
Right.
able to meet a Brazilian family member. Now she's now a family member. She's like a second mom to me, and we used to go, and she'd take me to eat at these Brazilian spots, and I'd be like, "What is this?" And then I traveled. I went to Colombia, and learned some food and tasted food there, and that was the first time I had an empanada, and I was like, "This is out of control. Like, what is
Like a
this?"
real empanada, because you probably had an empanada before, but just not
No,
just
yeah,
not
like
a
a
real.
real, the real one. You know what I mean? Not the ones from the freezer section.
Right, right,
So, so once that happened, I started really putting two and two together. Like I said, I was an entrepreneurial person growing up, being around that with my grandfather and all those different things. And my mom, she used to sell flowers in the clubs, and I would sell flowers with her, and so I was like, how do I make this make sense? And then as I had my daughter, I was just like, all right, everybody's eating fried chicken, everybody's eating macaroni and cheese, they're just eating it different ways. And, you know, really what catapulted me to Mestico was actually going to a Brazilian party with one of my Brazilian friends, and they were like, bring something. So I brought fried chicken, you know,
okay,
black
yeah,
staple,
right,
can't go wrong with that. So
right,
so I go to the party. I bring fried chicken, and everybody's eating, right, and they
right,
go, "Oh, this tastes like something we eat in Brazil." And I said, what is it called? They're like frango passadinho, and I said, okay. And they're like, you got a lot of seasoning on here, but we do like garlic and you kind of like marinate it in garlic and you fry it and then you cover it with lime. And I said, oh, okay. And then so I didn't think too much of it, but I was kind of like, ooh, they like this fried chicken. And one day they asked me to be a part of a Brazilian day in LA, where it's like a
Okay.
huge kind of carnival day. They rent out a huge park and they samba and all these things. And I was like I said, that's when I really got immersed. But I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do a food booth. So my first food booth was Frango Passadinho. I learned how to cook it. I did some research to kind of combine the soul food seasonings with their seasonings. I had sweet potato pie and I had French fries, and
Okay.
that was it. So my first thing was sweet potato pies and this Brazilian interpretation of soul food chicken, which was called Frango Passadinho. And
Okay.
it was a tough event because I hadn't really ever set up an event before and ran a kitchen, outside. That was the thing,
Right.
outside.
Right.
And I was like, "Ooh, this is crazy."
Wait a
Um,
minute, G. Hold on. I guess I messed this up because I thought when you said they invited you to the event, I thought they invited you to the event to like attend it.
no, to be
Uh,
a because I was like, let's just cook. Like y'all like my food, let's do it, right?
did
Like,
you did you know like what you were doing?
well, I knew how to cook, but I was just thinking like, there's so much to setting up an outdoor space, and so I'm buying coolers, I'm doing all kind of crazy stuff,
Yeah.
but I make the day, right? I sell some food, I fry some chicken, people like it. I make a whole bunch of sweet potato pies, and that was Mestico. That was literally the birth. It was like, all right, I
Really?
love like my favorite thing every single day. Right now, I do a farmers market in Westchester, right by the airport in LA. And when I give people my love muff chili, the reactions are like, "Damn, this is good." Or, or sometimes it'll be like, "I don't really like chili like that," and I'll be like, "Okay, well, just give us a try." And they'll walk away, and then they'll turn around and they'll give me that look, that look where they be like, what you
Yeah,
doing?"
right, right, right.
So that's what I experienced that day at the Brazilian event. Like people was like, "Hey, this is good," and they had never seen it. And the thing is, like, Afro Latin has always been around,
Yeah,
right? Like Dominicans, second, third generation Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, like we've been doing Afro Latin food, but we've been categorizing it as our only food, right? Soul
right.
food, Mexican food, you know. And I just realized, like, the truth is, like, it's everybody's food.
Yeah,
It's everybody's
yeah,
food.
yeah,
Sometimes I joke now as I get through this career of mine, is I say Afro Latin is a new American food.
yeah.
Like you can go anywhere and get food, and I think a lot of people are starting to catch on too, which I think that's great. Like I love seeing people doing variations of what I do or what I've been doing for the last 12 years. So it's really,
Right. Yeah, it's I mean you say Afro Latin or I guess there's a is Brazilian food, would that be considered Afro Latin food? Or
yeah,
like
yeah.
uh
So Brazilians, they, African Americans came over on the slave trade.
right,
So, so you have Afro Latin, diasporas there, as well as Spanish, right? So
right,
Spanish came and conquered Brazil, right? And there's Mexicans that have black people, like they're everywhere, right? And so
yeah,
we've we've added to the culture everywhere. And so,
right.
like, what makes up Mestico, just which I think is really important for people to know, because they're always like, what is Mestico? Mestico stands for Afro Latin, and we have
Oh,
our,
thank you. I
yeah,
was gonna ask you that.
yeah. So we translate that with 5 different cultures is our staples. We work out of soul food, which is African
Okay,
American soul Creole. Sometimes we get a little Western African, type of vibes when we decide what we're going to make. We obviously have Brazilian inspirations, Mexican inspirations, Cuban, and Puerto Rican. That is our
okay,
those are our pillars. So we work really in kind of that Caribbean space with, Cuba and Puerto Rico, and then we work
Mm.
South America, and then we obviously work the whole United States of America when it's Creole, Southern food. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I know people can cook really well in the South, but I can cook pretty well in the
Yeah,
Northeast. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
we that's how we built the Mestico vibe. And, so really what I do is I pull either different cooking techniques or flavor profiles to create things. And so,
right.
um, but that is really what Mestico is.
Bro, that's so ghetto. Like that's dope. I say, I say it's, bro. I say it's ghetto because literally, like, if I go to Mestico, I could get one of my favorite uh Latin dishes, which is Puerto Rican rice, and
Yep.
I could get the Puerto Rican rice with some fried chicken and some sweet potato pie. That's
Listen,
Mestico.
you just
Oh,
you just hit it. That's it. Listen, you a quick study, Ron. Like that. Listen, man, that's the thing. Like for the last couple years, like people starting to get it. I remember when I used to say it at the beginning, they'd be like, "Well, what is this and what's that?" But you hit it. That's exactly what I'm envisioning. Like I want people to know, like, and I had to learn this the hard way, right? So when I came to California, we have cities that are dominated by a different culture, right? Like I can go to Long Beach, I can go to Compton, I can go all these different places, and you're only going to have a certain type of food for the most part, right?
right. Yeah,
And
Roscoe's. Yeah,
right, Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles, right? Like, and I used to sometimes be at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles and be like, okay, I like certain things here, but just like you said, man, this would taste good with some Puerto Rican rice right now.
yeah,
But I can't get that, right? Or I'd go to Mexican restaurants and they'd be like, you order fajita and it'd be like, oh, it's sizzling, but I need some black beans. But really, they only use pinto beans in Mexican restaurants for the most
yeah,
part. Like,
yeah,
don't let Chipotle fool you.
yeah. Right,
If you're in an authentic Mexican restaurant, it's pinto beans. It's you don't really have an option for black beans, right?
right.
And so that's where the creativity was like, okay, we're missing that. We're missing the opportunity to, you know, blend. And
Yeah.
you said it so eloquently. That's it.
Bro,
That,
that's I mean, as you're talking, I finally got the thought. And the thought that everybody tells you to do, it's in podcasting, man. I don't follow the rules, and it seems like you don't follow the rules because what society tells you to do is niche down. You need a niche. And
right,
I created a show, Ordinary People with Extraordinary Stories. That's everybody.
right.
You
There it is.
they tell you to niche down in cooking, and you was like, forget that, man. I'm gonna take all of my favorites and put it
Hmm.
all together,
Yes.
and you get Mestico. That's dope, man. I've watched you, over the years, doing your cooking stuff on Facebook. I've also seen you a couple times in person because you come this way. You come to Chicago, and we're gonna talk about that in a minute. Because your daughter is a hooper, and she would always be at that Nike Eyeball tournament that they have in the city
Yeah.
at McCormick Place, and
Yes, sir.
you would talk about Mestico. But dude, after all these years, I finally got it. I understand now, and that's what a dope concept, man. That's a
Thank
dope concept.
you. Appreciate
Uh,
that.
let's talk about it. And I hope I'm not crossing a line here, man. When I ask you about this, but because we are ordinary people with extraordinary stories. But you told me at one point in time, man, like a lot of people in LA, you found yourself homeless.
Yeah, man. Homeless is one of the things that people don't really tell you is possible until you really have a dream that you're trying to strive for. And I
Yeah,
think one of the things that for me was when I first got to LA, I came here with not knowing anyone.
yeah,
I just knew that I was going to go to school for this fashion thing. I ran into a couple students. They were like, "Hey, you can stay with us?" And I was like, "All right, cool." And really, what I didn't realize is that you really need money here. You gotta get a job because people that the rent is ridiculous. And
I hear.
to a place where good people, they gave me an opportunity, but it just wasn't working. And I didn't really have nothing to go back to. Pittsburgh is a great place. I
Yeah.
love my family, but I was driven. Like I couldn't succeed, and I couldn't be like, I'm gonna go home and I don't know, do something. I was like, I'm here. I'm gonna figure it out. And for good about 3-4 months, just kind of living in closets. I was actually This is a really great story because I remember being homeless, and I had one job still in fashion. I was working at BB's clothing store as a stock boy, and this one of the cashiers, or people who kind of greeted people. They were like, "Hey, you're homeless." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm homeless, but I got my LA Fitness. I take a shower, but this is what it is, right? Like I'm not going back." And
Yeah.
I remember her asking me for my basic resume, and she ended up giving it to a property manager. And this property manager, I was working 4 hours a day. I wasn't really even making any money. But he read my resume and he noticed it said Purdue on it. And he actually graduated from Purdue in theater.
Wow.
Look at
Wow.
that. God, right?
Yeah. All the way in LA.
All the way in LA, right?
Yeah.
And so he lets me go meet him at this property in downtown LA, and he says, "Well, you got any money?" I said, "No, but I'll find it." He was like, "Okay, well, I got a studio apartment, but I can't let you live there because you don't have no lease." And I said, "Okay, well, I don't have really anywhere to go." He was like, "Well, look, here's what you can do. I'll put you in the storage closet downstairs in the basement. You can put your stuff there." Mind you, I came to California with like 4 bags. That's it.
Yeah.
And so I didn't have too much at that point, but I was like, but at least I don't got to sleep outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember walking, and he showed it to me. He said, "Look, I'll give you the key, but all you can do is take a quick shower in here, but you can't like live there." And I was like, "All right, cool." So for 2 months, I lived in a closet, in a building, in an apartment building. And I mean, the closet couldn't have been any bigger than 3 by 4. It's just one of those little small storage closets for you to
Wow.
put stuff in. And I remember going to school one day. I was still trying to, do the fashion thing, and I got a call from Universal Studios to work in the costume shop during the Halloween horror Christmas time,
Okay.
and they do like parades and stuff. And I worked there, and that was the job that got me stable in California, and I was able to get my apartment and things like that. But yeah, these streets, you know, it's been a long time, but that is kind of my why to while I work a lot. Like Ron, I tell you all the time, if I'm working, I'm
Yeah.
doing something, because at the end
Yeah.
of the day, like California, you get swallowed up and spit out real quick. Like
Yeah.
everything
Bro,
is just
I mean, kudos to you, man. Bro, kudos to you, man, for hanging in there, bro. Like, and then, but so Buddy told you that you couldn't. He said you couldn't stay in the closet, but you did anyway.
no. He said I could stay in the closet, but I couldn't stay in the studio apartment.
Oh,
Like
to take a shower. Okay,
he
okay.
was like, you can go in there and take a quick shower, but you can't, like, I can't just be in there cooking and living, right? He was like, nah, you can't do
Yeah,
that. But like I said, he gave me shelter. And
yeah,
one of the things I will say is, like, when you go to college, like me and you are really great friends, and we're lifelong friends. And
yeah,
for him to see that on my little basic resume of my little odd jobs and be willing to reach out to me,
yeah,
I think the other great thing is he was an African American brother too. Like, he was
yeah.
just, I'm gonna put my job on the line for you because I
Right.
believe in you. And I was just like, wow. So hindsight, 22 years later, it's been a
Yeah,
good bet on myself, I guess.
yeah. And man, you guess, man. Absolutely, man. That was a great bet on yourself. It's crazy, bro, because like this got to be a totally different, like, just mindset. Cause like, man, I'd probably fight somebody that it was like, I got a place for you, and they took me down to the to the storage closet. like, I, like I'm Count Chocula or something, bro. Like, what you mean?
Listen, man, you know what? That's funny you say that because people don't understand me, but the way you started the show, when you said he's always had a positive outlook and
Yeah,
on life, like when you come from nothing, like my brother, he's funny. He's a football coach, and he always says we Section 8 kids, and I
yeah,
mean it's true,
yeah,
but we never felt like we were Section 8 kids. Like my mom used to say something to us every day. She was like, "Y'all, my $1 million boys,"
man.
and you know, I don't think we've all achieved $1 million yet, but we're close, and I think we've been working towards just not letting her down, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And when you come from a tough childhood, scraping by, like I just kind of told myself, if this person is whatever they're gonna give me, I'm gonna make the best of it,
yeah,
and I tell you, even to this day, a lot of people always see me and they be like, "You're always half full type person." I'm like, "Well, I already been at the other spot." Like,
yeah.
I mean, I can't dwell in that. I just gotta say, like, what else can I do? And
Right.
I think that's one of the things that I love about cooking and having this love muff chili too, because I talk to people every day about it, and they're just like, "You have a really good personality," and I'm just like, I'm just being my authentic self. Like,
Yeah,
you know, I'm I just want people to enjoy food and smile and work hard, and if you can do those couple things, it's possible. And so,
yeah, yeah. It's it's crazy because like somebody I was talking to my cousin actually, and she cooks. She's a chef, but she doesn't want to do it because she says she hates people. And then so I told, it was crazy because I was like, my first thought was, what does it matter if you hate people? You just cooking, and then I realized life. I was like, what am I thinking? Like, you out there, man. You really do. You aren't just selling food; you're selling yourself. And so, man, I don't know how your food tastes yet. I'm going to come out there and taste your food. I want some sweet potato pie, but I can imagine, man. Even if your food was like just mid, like you probably still like would sell food, bro, because you have this great personality, man. The way you connect with people.
well, yeah, man, I appreciate that. I mean, like, the thing is, like, I think food is love, right? Like,
Yeah,
if you cook it with love and you really just cook it for the people, then it has no choice but to be good.
yeah,
I think some people, say they can't cook or things like that, and I'm like, you can cook, you just gotta just still stay in your warehouse. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
take your time and make what you're good at, and build from that. And you know, personality I think goes a long way, but people are tough. Especially like you know people of color, right? Like
oh
they
yeah.
right? Like, listen, when I started Afro Latin food, I had Latinos like, bro, what you know about tacos, bro? Like, right? They'd be like, I don't know, man, right? And then I had to show them, right? And I had to be like,
Yeah,
this is how I'm gonna do it. And then they put it in their mouth, and then what I used to do now is I just let the food speak. Like, I really encounter someone every single day telling me, I don't know about your food because it's not in a niche, right? If
yeah,
I said I'm a
yeah,
soul food person, they'd be like, all right, let me see how them yams taste. Let me see how them black eyed peas taste, right? But when I say Afro Latin, they're like, I don't know what this is. And what are you really going to do? Right. And
right,
so once I start showing people, like, I just cook with love and they eat it, then that's the magic in itself. Because I think anyone can cook. It's just what you can cook, and then what you're willing to learn how to cook. I think cooking techniques and skills is also very important, and then really just understanding like your flavor profiles, right? Like, it can't all just be salt and pepper.
right, right.
You might need some paprika every once in a while. You know what I mean?
Right. I don't, bro. I don't cook at all, so I have no idea one of the reasons you say that you're impatient, but one of the reasons I don't cook is because I only time that I would find myself cooking would be to eat. Like I'm hungry. Like I don't, I don't got that time, man. I was my roommate now, man. She was trying to show me, how to cook, and she ended up just doing it herself because I was just like, yo, bro, like I got a pregame or something, man. Like I'm hungry.
Like, we're gonna
I
just
never
dial
did.
Uber Eats real quick. While you work on that, I'm gonna go ahead and Uber Eats. It's gonna come.
Right, right.
That's interesting, and that's one of the things that I guess I love the most about cooking. It's really a relaxing space for me.
Yeah,
So, whenever I cook, I grew up listening to like Luther Vandross and you know, uh, just Shalimar stuff like that, right? And so when I cook, that's the music I listen to. Like,
you
and
listen to Luther bro.
I
You wild, man. You cooking
listen,
tacos,
Luther,
listening to Luther Vandross, and then you gonna add
yeah,
some sweet potato pie to it.
listen. I kid you not. That music starts my cooking journey every time. Like,
Really?
whenever I'm at like an outdoor festival, it's
Yeah,
90s R&B. Like, I bring my
yeah.
speaker, we jamming, and
That's what's up.
like food, music, like that's
Yeah.
just how I do it. But it's relaxing to me. So it's probably one of the things that I'm least impatient with
Right.
is because I'm kind of in this zone of just like, all right, let me just chop this, let me trace this, let me do this, and I know that the end result will be spectacular, right? And
Yeah.
so that's one of the, I guess, the calming aspects of cooking. Like I remember, like when you kind of started this with like when I was sewing and doing fashion. One of the things I enjoyed about fashion was sewing all night. Like
Right.
I could just sit there and sew, like, and it was just a process. The hard part about fashion was it was so long. Like I'd have to sew something, press it, all this stuff, and it still wasn't done, right? And
Yeah. Yeah.
for food, it's like 45 minutes. I could crank out something amazing in 45 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
20
Yeah.
minutes, boom. And I think the big thing too was like growing up, not having a lot of food and learning how to like open a refrigerator, like and just be like, all right, well, there's a piece of lettuce.
Yeah.
there might be some milk, and you'd be like, all right, well, what am I gonna make? Oh, I got some flour though. I can't do
Yeah.
no lettuce, but I can make some pancakes. Hold on. I think I got 2 eggs, right? So that is, I guess, the challenging part. So my building, like I'm like, can I cook with whatever's in here? You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
nowadays they call that show chopped, right?
Yeah.
Where you just had that random basket. Like
Yeah.
if you grew up in Section 8, that's every day.
You can make it crack.
Like,
Right. Right.
I'm gonna open this refrigerator, I'm gonna open the
Right.
cabinet and look in and be like, wait, let me close it again. Let me see if there's something else in there. You be like, oh, it's still the same stuff. All right,
Right.
all right, we got some canned tuna. All right, cool. There we go. We gonna figure it out. So
Yeah.
I think that's just like the piece, like trying to figure out how to create, make it taste good, and it's calming. Like I
Yeah.
literally in the kitchen all day. Like my friends are always like here in California, like you're in the kitchen all day, and you had to set up your booth or you had to do this, and I'm like, yeah, but everyone's expressions, that's the greatest thing. Like
Yeah.
I just had this lady. I just won this competition for Love Muff Chili, and this lady was in this Orange County, which is maybe like 30, 40 miles away from where my farmer's market is. And she told me when she came, she tried the chili. I gave her a little 2-ounce sample, and she said, "Oh, this is good, but I live over there." And I said, "Okay." And literally, she showed up the next day. I was at a competition on Saturday. She came on Sunday, and I was so shocked because I was just like, "Wow, you really like that chili enough to come on your Sunday?" And she bought some, and I was just like, "Okay, that's really what you cook for." right? For people to come back, for
Yeah,
to
yeah,
order, or say I need it. I mean, I remember growing up. I know you're in Indiana, Chicago area. There's a place in Western PA. I don't know if they've expanded yet, but it was called Sheets. It's like a gas station, but you could make your own sandwiches. You pick all the random little toppings,
yeah,
and it just hit the spot because you was in charge, right? You was like, all right,
right.
I want bacon, I want ham, I want my bread like this, and it was at a gas station, and you know we would try to go there all the time because it was like it didn't matter where it was at. We got to find the sheets after having a
Yeah.
good time, right? And so to see the lady show up, I was just shocked, and I was like, okay, we're making strides in this food game that will be willing to travel to taste this food. So that's cool.
Yeah, especially so like every time you say it, you skipping over the fact that you named some chili muff. Like, bro, I was like, this lady,
Love muff,
bro,
love muff chili. Listen, that's
where did, where did
love
the
muff.
name Love Muff come from, man? Like that's wild. See,
So,
you said she came to my house for some muff. Usually it's the other way around. But anyway, where does the name come from?
so love muff really came from my grandson. I'm married and I'm in my second relationship, and I met this young little boy, and his name was Love Muff, and I got into this competition, and it took me about 2 years to create the recipe. So I was competing and losing. So like it don't
Yeah,
happen overnight, right?
yeah,
And then one day I came up with this recipe, and what I noticed at chili competitions, most people make their chili super spicy,
yeah,
right? But they bring kids, and the
yeah,
kids would be like, "I don't want to eat no chili," right? But I would give them a sample of mine, and they would be like, "I like this." And so at some point, I was like, "I got to name this chili." And I grew up in the '80s where you got Gerber babies and Kicks
yeah,
and cereal commercials, and then I just thought about my grandson, and I was like, Love Muff. Like I could just imagine his little cheeks with the chili
yeah,
cheeks,
yeah.
and so I called it Love Muff, and it's so funny what you said. Like I didn't realize the impact until I started serving folks, and they were
Yeah.
like, "You got that Love Muff?" And I was like, "What are y'all talking about?" Yes, it's called Love Muff. And then I started getting it, and I was like, "Well, I guess I got a catchy name, But you know, Love Muff Chili is a beef and bacon with Mexican and Puerto Rican spices. So I kind of created this flavor profile that's super unique. And when I first started, I used to call it Love Muff Chili, the people's choice.
Okay.
Every chili competition, there's where patrons can vote, and then all of a sudden, people just kept coming and voting, and I ended up winning, several Malibu chili festivals. Now I'm in the International Chili Society where they compete all over the United States.
Yeah.
I've People's Choice 3 times in local events here. Um, and then obviously getting an opportunity to put chili in a grocery store in Malibu. I think that was huge. But the chili just kind of took on a life of its own. I had a friend of mine who was helping me a long time ago with a Love Muff Chili and Mestico, and she used to always say to me like, "What are we? Are we Mestico or Love Muff Chili?" And I'm like, "Look, Mestico is the brand, just like Procter and Gamble, but
Yeah.
Love Muff Chili is like Tide. It's in every household." And she used to look at me like, "I don't know," and I'm like, "Look, this chili is it." And so when I went to a farmer's market in Westchester, it was the first time that I tried to sell chili. Like
Yeah.
when you go to a festival, you're not really selling it, or when you're competing, you're just making it and giving it out. But people are coming for the chili.
Yeah.
But when you're at a farmer's market, you actually really have to talk to people and get them to try a sample because they'll just walk right past you. Like,
Right.
I didn't come here for that, right?
Right.
But what I learned is I'd give them a sample, like a 1 ounce sample. They'd eat it, and they'd be like, "Yeah, I gotta buy that. I don't know what
People
you
was walking past samples, man. This got to be a California thing, because like we
sell
look.
samples at the farmers market. Listen, but that's what I learned, and I was just like, okay, so Love Muff Chili is definitely, been very helpful to the growth of Afro Latin food, because now it allows me to have a conversation with people, right?
Right.
Because of the way it's made and things like that. So now they try different things. I have customers that do this amazing Brazilian black eyed pea salad.
Ooh,
More people think
yeah.
black eyed peas is just black eyed peas and ham hocks, right? Boom. And it's hot. I do a cold salad. You know, um, my sweet potato pie. I say it ain't your mama's sweet potato pie. It don't taste what you think it's gonna taste like, but
Yeah.
you gonna keep eating it.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, you got me, bro. I'm not a chili person. Yeah, I'm with you. Like if you were like, Ron, you should try my chili, I'd be like, because you're my guy, I'm gonna try your chili. But like otherwise, man, I'm not eating no Love Muff chili. But you
Right?
started explaining what's in it, man. And bro, my stomach just started growling. Like I want to try Love Bacon, Love Muff chili, bro. I mean that sounds dope.
Well,
Uh
yeah, and the funny part about the love month chili, like I was talking to my daughter a couple of days ago, and she actually said to me, she said, "Dad, who would have thought you would be famous for some chili?" And I was
yeah,
like, "Me, I would have never thought it. I mean,
yeah, right.
I went into a competition, and then I found like I kind of like this.
Yeah,
It kind of gave me that first like chopped experience, where
right.
time where you have a certain amount of time to cook something, and even not getting it right, dang, I thought it was gonna taste like this, it don't taste like that, right?
Yeah,
And once you finally get one of those recipes, like I didn't make Love Muff Chili a brand until about 2 years ago. For a good 10 years, I was just cooking at festivals and giving it away, eating it.
really.
But I didn't think like, oh, this is gonna be ketchup, like Heinz ketchup, or
Yeah,
uh, what's the stuff we grew up, Chef Boyardee. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
it didn't click. And now I sell chili every day. I can sell chili in the winter. I can sell chili in the summer. It is 90 degrees here. I still sell chili.
Wow. And
Yeah.
and they can get it in the grocery store. I think I saw the name. That's not the farmer's market. That's the actual store, right?
Yep. Vintage Grocers. Yep. Vintage Grocers. It's in Malibu because, like I said, I started really winning championships in Malibu. It's a 4-day festival every Labor Day weekend. I just celebrated my 10th year doing it last year. And I really just go for the people now. Like I don't even need to win anything. Like the people, like there's a reel on my Instagram where there's a little kid and he comes and he said, I noticed him because he comes all the time, but I didn't know like how many years. But his
Yeah.
dad was like, he's come here every 4 years. For the last 4 years, just eat your chili.
Wow.
And I was just like, man, that's impactful, right? Like
Yeah.
wait for this festival that's every year, and I got this kid who the kid looked like he was probably like 10 or 11. So you think about
Yeah.
how long he's been eating this chili.
Wow.
You
He grew up on it.
He grew up on it.
Yeah.
I mean, you live in Chicago, like you guys have like outdoor festivals, right? And
Yeah.
there's probably like that one vendor that you see the line and you be like, why is everyone standing in line for this fried chicken or
Yeah.
something,
Turkey
right?
legs. Turkey
But
legs. Yeah.
like that's the only place you gonna get it. Like you got to go
Yeah.
to that festival to get it. And Malibu's been really good to me. Like the people alone, because it's also a charity. So we actually do the proceeds that we make also goes to the Boys and Girls Club. So
Okay.
so that's one of the things about the chili scene that kind of is impactful to me is that a lot of the chili competitions and things like that, they're always for nonprofits.
Okay.
Whether it's the Rotary Club, Wounded Warriors, um, Boys and Girls Club, etc. And so I just like being at a place where I know I'm also giving back, but also exposing people to the food of what is Afro Latin food that they're probably eating. They're just eating it in a segment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? what do I have to do to get Love Muff Chili out in Chicago, or how can I get Love Muff Chili out in Chicago?
So right now you can DM me on Mestico Afro Latin Cuisine. That is on my Instagram. And I ship chili all the time. I've shipped chili to Atlanta. I've shipped chili to Missouri. I've shipped chili to Pittsburgh, Kansas. You know, you eat and I normally ship on Mondays. So I'll take Mondays I'll ship so that it ships 3 days. It ships frozen. It tastes great by the time you get it. Um, but yeah, I take orders and I ship them. Like we package it up. It comes UPS. But I can get you some. We did this podcast. I gotta get you some. I gotta ship it out to you somehow. So I
You
got you.
got to, man. I'll pay for the shipping, bro.
No, I got you. That's the thing. The thing is the chili too. That is you mentioned shipping. It's hard. Like being a small business, I'm not able to give you that free shipping. But
Yeah,
and you're shipping a food product and you got to get it to you quick. But if you pay for the shipping, the chili, we get it to you because I just want
right.
people to really try it and enjoy it. I actually had a lady who comes to the farmers market because I'm right by the airport. So sometimes I get like people who just get off airplanes and they're looking for something to eat.
Yeah.
And I had a lady just recently, about 2 weeks ago, say, "I'm taking this chili to Portland because my nephew came, he got some, and he was like, don't come to Portland without no Love 'em Up chili." Right?
Yeah.
So I got people like they remember it. And that is the goal, right? Like when I cook food, I just want people to say, that was good. And if I'm ever around that person again, I'm eating again. You
Right.
know?
Right.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm doing something different because I want people to be able to get this because be able to get to your Instagram. So I think I'm sharing my screen. Hopefully, I am.
Yes, you are.
Uh,
I see
I
it.
am. Okay, so if you can see, you guys, if you want some of this Love Muff Chili, yeah, man. I mean, like that's the first. Well, we got my little man right here.
Yeah.
That's first picture up that we see, man. And he
Come on.
looked like he enjoying the heck out of it. I wanna, if you want this chili, man, hit him up, DM him on his Instagram,
Yep.
so you can get this chili. How much we paying for this chili?
The chili is $20 for a 32-ounce container. Um, and then, like I said, we ship it. So I just normally what I do is I'll send you an electronic invoice through Square, and then I'll just figure out what your shipping is. It just depends on where you go. So normally I'll ship in the afternoon. So for all my East Coast people, you'll receive like a communication from me in the evenings once you place the order, and I'll let you know. The Instagram comes directly to me. I'm not big enough yet where I got something to answer that, but you know what I mean. But at the end of the day, I definitely get this chili out. You can also scroll through my Instagram, and you'll see that sometimes I post where I'm shipping it, just so people know like he really do get that chili out. And I want people to just enjoy it. I want people to try it, love it. I'm hoping to grow it at some point and put it in a grocery store near you.
Okay, cool, man. Yes, I want people to be able to get this, man. Oh, so I was told that they couldn't see it, so hopefully they can see it now.
Okay.
Let me see if I could throw it up there. There we go, right there, man. Let me take myself out of there so that
I
people
appreciate
can
it.
see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If
Eco
you
Afro
want,
Black Tea. Yep. Uh,
yeah.
and like I said, you DM, I open the DM, we talk, I get you set up, and then I'll make the delivery. But I love seeing the chili travel. I think that's a testament to just how good it tastes,
Yeah.
um, and the uniqueness of it. So
That's dope, man. That's all dope. Man, and you'd never said it, but every time people come on here, they always say, man, we got to talk for an hour, bro. We have gone over an hour. I do want you to talk a little bit, man, about through this process. You talked about being homeless and you were still, moving. Also through this process, man, you went through a divorce, and you also had a daughter, man, who you are, from what I see, a great father. Uh,
Yeah,
Talk a
man.
little bit about your daughter, because your daughter's a hooper, bro. I mentioned earlier that that she, she went to. I would see her at the Nike Eyeball tournament, and you would always talk about your daughter and rave about her, man. And that she can hoop. Everybody talk about their kids and how good they are, but bro, your daughter's a hooper, bro.
He's
she,
a hooper. He's a
I was
hooper.
surprised, man. I was surprised. What's been the process of being a dad and also trying to be an entrepreneur?
I think the biggest thing for me is never let anyone not allow you to be a dad. You know,
Yeah,
I you know, I don't know if this is the right platform, but I'll say it. Like, if you go through a divorce, never accept just weekends.
yeah,
Say 50-50, I got it.
yeah,
And then commit as a man. Commit to it. And I think that's really the benefit of me being able to be the dad that I wanted to be is I saw my daughter every other day.
yeah. Wow.
And we we still have that right now. So there was never like, oh, I didn't only see my daughter for 2 days or whatever it is. And I manned up and I took care of the bills that I was responsible for and in the time. And my daughter, she's great. She's playing collegiate basketball, and I just tried to show her the best part of myself, and just show her how to be resilient.
Yeah,
And I think that's one of the biggest things that people don't really understand is you have to put in what you want to put in, right? Like you're not going to ever get anything out. Like I grew up in a broken home,
yeah,
you know, and even up growing up in a broken home, I realized that once I had my daughter, I was like, even though we're not in the same household every single day,
mm,
there'll never be a day where you wouldn't say I didn't show up.
yeah,
And basketball was actually one of those things that allowed me to build that relationship, being present and
yeah,
traveling and just showing her like, look, if the worst thing in your life was your parents weren't together, but you still saw your parents and you had the best of both worlds,
yeah,
that was my goal. And I don't know if I've always achieved it, but I do know that my daughter does say like, Dad, you solid.
yeah,
That's the young talk. They were like, you solid. I'm like, all
yeah,
right, I guess solid is better than absent, right?
yeah,
Solid is better than absent. And
yeah,
when you see me every year at McCormick Center over when she was growing up, at Nike EYBL, like those are our memories. Those are the things where like I showed up for my daughter every day. And I always tell men that if you're going through a tough time with your significant other and you can't make it work, don't accept that child support.
yeah,
Say I want 50-50 and hold accountable. And I
yeah,
think that's the hardest thing. Like, I think people don't realize like all a person wants is for you to show up every day.
yeah,
And, I think I learned that just in my own personal life with growing up without having a dad present, and having a single mom working. It was like, I know the feeling of playing basketball or doing something and no one in the stands. And
yeah,
I really tried not to make sure, I live by that, outcast. I will be present on the first day of school and graduation. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like I was there. I didn't miss nothing. And
yeah,
a lot of sacrifice. And, I'm blessed to have a daughter who's still, you know, striving to be great, So and she is great. BBK she is one of the true inspirations behind, she is it. And
yeah,
this picture you actually just put up, that's a really great picture because she's always worked festivals with me, but I think that's the first time that we've taken a picture where we won something together, you
wow,
know. And she just came home from college and we just recently won that at an event, and I was just so excited because it was like full circle. Like
yeah,
carrying boxes and running registers and serving drinks since she was 7 years old at
Yeah.
Mestico.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
I think I lost your picture, man, but it's cool because we're gonna finish up here in a second.
don't worry.
I lost your picture in the feed, but that's cool, man. We got the picture of you and your daughter up.
Yeah,
Uh man, your daughter's man, she was a dope kid, man. Like just getting to meet her, and like I said, man, she is a hooper. Uh man, kudos to you. I have this thought that dads that show up after like divorce, like they should get a special award, man. Because just by design, when you're actually married and you're living in the same household with them, it's just by design you show up. You actually have to be very intentional, especially every other day. Wow, man. You have to be very intentional about showing up
and
after a divorce.
and listen, I know that my story hopefully will help someone. Like, I really do actually do appreciate you bringing that part up. Like, I don't think I've actually really spoke, but it was a little bit of a therapy section in
Hmm.
this little small segment because
Yeah.
every single day I see a lot of people feel like it's somebody's fault. But the truth is, when you put your kid first
Mhm.
and you just say, I'm showing up every day, I'm picking up every day, I'm dropping off every day, my kid's sick, I'm taking a day off. Like, if you put yourself in that mindset, even if you have the worst disagreement with that other person who you made this child with, they'll
Yeah.
appreciate you at the end,
Yeah.
you know, because you actually gave yourself consistency. Because when you live with someone, that's hard. Because
Yeah.
you pass the buck, right? Like, that ain't my job, or this ain't
Yeah.
your job.
Yeah.
But when that kid, you got to pick that kid up and the bell ring and it's your day. You got to get off work. You got to show up. You got to pick up. You got to cook. You got to read the bedtime stories. You got to
Yeah. It's
go to the
harder.
game. It's a lot, and
Yeah.
I just urge men, particularly, you know, to never settle for the every other weekend.
Yeah.
The pay a whole bunch of child support. Just be present and
Yeah.
do it. And
Yeah.
and and it's not easy. It's really not easy. Like, there's a lot of tough days, and I'm an optimistic person, Ron. But
Yeah.
there's some them days where you cry. There's some days where you feel like, dang, I thought I did enough, and it still ain't enough. There's days where your kid looks at you like you ain't good enough, like,
Yeah.
but you still got to show up. And I think my daughter and my relationship is a walking testament. I remember one thing, I'll leave you with this, is we spent a lot of time in the gym playing basketball, and I was coaching and helping out, and people used to always say, that girl's good. I'd be like, yeah, great. And then eventually, like a month or two later, someone would tell them that was my daughter. And
Yeah.
they'd be like, that's your kid? I'd be like, yeah. I wouldn't even know. Because I allowed her to speak with her game.
Yeah.
Like, when you came and watched her play, it wasn't me hyping her up. You saw her
Yeah.
make buckets.
Yeah. Yeah, bro.
you know.
I didn't know girls had crossovers like that. I just I know.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are the things too. And I'll say this too, like, for dads and moms, if you're going through a tough time, find something that you can bond with your kid on
Hmm.
and see it to the end,
Yeah.
and never let them quit. I think that's the thing. Like, me and my daughter, she's learned some things from me, because obviously you always want to give your kid better than what you had.
Yeah.
But I always told her, I was like, you're not quitting. We ain't quitting. Nothing. You
Right.
know. And that was the only thing I probably could give her, because I can't give her Section 8.
Right. Right.
Like, I can't give her walking miles in the snow. I
Yeah.
can't. You know what I mean? You can never give your kid what you went, but you can at least tell them, like, this is how you wake up every day. This is how you show up every day. This is what you do. And I love her for that. She's definitely makes me a proud dad. So appreciate her.
That's dope, man. And again, man, I just got to stress, man, kudos to you, man. Like even I think doing what you've done is even harder. And I'm going to explain this because somebody probably going to want to fight me over it, but it's even harder than being a single parent because again, man, uh, I stated that it's harder than just being a regular dad, where you go to the household every day. I think it's harder than being a single parent because again, your child is coming home every day. When you do what you did, you actually have to leave the comfort of your home, go and get them, make an effort. I can only imagine what it's like if you fought with the child's mom or the significant other, and then you still have to be dedicated to going to get this child. Now I got to look this lady in the face, or like, just I understand, and I can't empathize, but I sympathize with what that could have possibly entailed over the years. And you had a choice, you know.
Yeah, I think everyone has a choice, but you're right. One of the things that is the hardest is co-parenting, right?
Yeah,
Like you still have to learn how to work on your communication skills.
yeah,
You just
yeah,
don't do the confines of one home, and there's a small break in between. But you know, once you learn that, that probably taught me some patience in life, right? Having a
yeah,
daughter, knowing that I really wanted to be committed in being in her space. Um, that teaches you a lot about who you are. It builds a lot of character too. And like I said, it's not easy, but like I said, I will urge any man or woman who's in a relationship, go 50-50 and just mount up, and
yeah,
just and don't miss. And if you miss one day, it's not the end of the world, but you just have to show consistency, because the truth is, when you're raising a kid, all the other person wants is you to be consistent.
yeah.
That's it. And then the
That's
kid
it, man.
more.
Yeah, that's it. It's. I was telling somebody about that, and then I'm not gonna go too much longer, but I was just telling somebody about that. Was sometimes, man, we think our kids want more than that, but I think they just, to a certain extent, man. Yeah, you have to provide, but more important than providing is being there.
Amen.
I had to learn that, man. I thought working the overtime and giving my kids certain things was the way to go, and the reality that's a part of the way, but that's not the way. You
Yeah.
know, you have to be present. You have to be. I would more so say that's even more important. You have to provide, but it's more important than trying to get them the new shoes or whatever. If you got to work an extra day to get them the new pair of shoes, or be at home with them, I would say, man, forget the shoes. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And be there.
And listen, they'll tell you. Parents, the kids will tell you, like, through my years, my daughter said some different things to me, and I'd be like, whoa. Because there was a point in my life where I just worked. When I was just humble beginnings, coming from being homeless in California, all I
Yeah,
did is just work little jobs and just keep working. And I remember my daughter at like 3 years old telling me one day, I came in the house and she's like, "Dad, you work all the time." And I'm like, "You're three. How do you understand this?"
right,
Right?
right,
You
right.
know. And as I went through my journey, I realized that time is more important than the money to them. But the
Yeah,
money, but the money is, my grandfather says it best. And this is not when you're going through a divorce, but it still kind of reigns true. Romance without finance is a nuisance. So
yeah,
parenting without having income to help that kid be successful, whether it's a fundraiser, or like you said, new pair of shoes or summer clothes or summer camp,
yeah,
like you have to put your priorities in order so that both parties and co-parents are happy, because they're just like, one person can't take on more than the other,
yeah,
build resentment in that space. So at the end of the day, like I said, man, I think it's hard, but I think there's a lot of men and women starting to see, like, just show up for your kid, and
yeah,
you know think it works.
yeah. No doubt, man. Bro, thank you, man. We talked about you coming on the VNO, man. And I got you, man. Thank you so much, man. Your picture went out there at the end, so we having to do it like this, but still, man, man, you dropping so many gems. Thank you for coming on, and man, I just want to remind everybody: do not forget tomorrow, which I want to rerun this show tomorrow. Uh, but y'all make sure y'all vote for China, man. That's him right there. Carla Hall's favorite chef. Bravo's Carla Hall. Thousands of people, man, have been in this competition. You are now in the quarterfinals. We're trying to get you to the semifinals.
Yes,
And
sir.
yes, sir. Hit that link, man. Take a screenshot of this and hit that link. I'll be sharing the link on my Facebook page. But y'all hit that link and get my man to the semis, man. So that we can no doubt, man, we want to see you win, bro. And
Hey, man.
I really want you. I want to taste this chili because I want to make sure that who I'm telling these people to vote for.
Listen, man. Hey, listen. Hit me with that. Hit me with that or the address on the text message, and I got you. I'm gonna get some out to you
Thank you,
ASAP.
thank
ASAP.
you, thank
Listen, man. I
you.
also just want to say I want to give you your flowers, man. Like I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity. It's my first podcast ever, and just watching your journey and seeing you just focused and being your best self. Like when I went to college with Ron, he was the life of the party, and so I think you figured out how you can still be the life of the party and make people happy. And you
Yeah.
know, I just appreciate you giving me an opportunity. It's weird because I didn't really think I had too much to say, but you pull some stuff out of me today, so you got some good content.
Oh, I'll bring it out, man. I heard your voice shaking too. You almost was crying on this one.
Got me on a couple sensitive topics, but at the end of the day, it's my life, and you know it takes a village, and you were part of my village and giving me the strength. And I go to work every day cooking food for people like you because you believed in me when I was just running around, hanging out. So
Yeah.
appreciate you.
Man, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much, man. I didn't run none of my normal advertisements, but y'all make sure, man, that y'all check out uh, my guys, man, over on Shop Talk 7 and Dope Living TV Live, man, broadcasting every day, Monday through Friday, I guess I should say, broadcasting Monday through Friday. Shop Talk 7 over there on the left hand side, on your left hand side. You can check them out, man, on every major streaming platform, every major platform, Facebook. You can check them out on Instagram. The show you can find on YouTube. Also, you can find the show actually on Facebook. And yeah, check them out, man. They local music, local Chicago artists. A lot of them I have been on this platform, man, and you can see just how dope they are. But check them out, man. They play some of their local music. These local artists are so dope, man, so dope. So y'all check them out. They broadcast from 7 to 9, and then so what you can do is you can watch them from 7 to 8. Tune in over to Dope Living TV Live with the big bro, man, Greg Gray, and the crew, man, Marcy and Gina, and every now and again, Life Coach Jeff. Now, my cousin, Life Coach Jeff, that's 1/4 of the Vibe Studios, and also my man Mo B. You can find him on Dope Living TV Live, man. You can find him on Facebook. Just look up Dope Living TV on YouTube if you want to check them out on YouTube. But check them out, man. They always got a good guest on, man. They have artists, writers, anybody, man. It's almost like I stole their idea and created a show. They just have it on their side is Dope Living TV. On my side is Ordinary People with Extraordinary Stories. But they are some great people, man. Y'all go and check them out. Also, man, I don't want to play the advertisement because we kind of over time. But check out my homegirl, Benika Henderson with Heritage Real Estate. Just type in Heritage Real Estate. Search Heritage Real Estate on Instagram. Search Heritage Real Estate on Facebook. Search Heritage. I don't think she's on YouTube, but try that too. She might be. Uh, she's doing great things, man, in Northwest Indiana in the real estate space. If you are looking for a home, if you are looking for an apartment, if you're looking for any place but a janitor's closet to live, go and check her out. Go check her out. Man, China, man, it's been great, man. Again, it's been a heck of a show, bro. And y'all, please, please, please make sure you vote for my man. Drop a couple drop a couple dollars, man, and make sure he get these votes. And your dollars are going to a good cause. China, what was the organization again?
The James Beard Foundation,
Okay.
feeding homeless
And
across the world.
what is he helping?
Feeding homeless
Oh,
population.
feeding homeless.
Yeah. Yep.
That's dope, man. So you're not dropping that money, man, just for a couple of votes and just to help him win the competition, man. You're also doing it for a good cause to feed homeless people, man, around the world.
Yes.
That's wild.
Yes, sir.
That's wild, man. So y'all, thank you, man. China again, man. Love to you, bro. Love to you, man. And I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna find some people. I'm gonna get this chili over to Chicago and let a couple people taste it, and we're
Let's
gonna
do
see
it.
if we get you in this area.
That's right.
Y'all,
I send you a couple to pass around.
thank you, man. I appreciate it.
All
I
right.
appreciate, I appreciate it. Y'all being on what you know, man. As always, we are ordinary people with extraordinary stories.
Peace.
But have you ever thought, what if this is all just a dream? And we're just waiting in line to wake up? And most people think I'm insane. Once you realize that all the shit you used to care so much about just keeps you a prisoner of your own mind.